Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you are in the world. It's wonderful to see you all. And please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat and let us know where you're joining from. My name is Annie Campbell Washington, and I'm Senior Assistant Dean of Academic Programs and Dean of Students here at the Goldman School of Public Policy. And tonight we are excited to share more information with you about our Master of Public Affairs degree. If you have questions throughout the program, please feel free to type your questions in the chat box, or you can hold on to them until the end of the session and we'll be happy to answer them at the end. With that, we will get going. So first, I'll share the agenda with you. Today, we will talk a bit more about the Goldman School of Public Policy and let you know more about our school and UC Berkeley. We'll dive deep into the Master of Public Affairs degree program. We'll talk about our admissions process and then get into next steps. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we'll answer all of your questions at the end of our session. So first, I wanted to introduce ourselves to you. Again, my name is Annie Campbell Washington. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm Senior Assistant Dean of Academic Programs and Dean of Students here at the Goldman School of Public Policy at UC Berkeley. I'm also a proud alum of GSPP. I received my Master's of Public Policy degree back in 2000, and I had come to GSPP with a background in nonprofit management and thought I might go into that when I graduated, but I ended up going into a very long career in local government here in a neighboring city, the city of Oakland, California. And then about 7 years ago, I returned to the Goldman School to serve in this role, which I absolutely love, having the opportunity to work closely with students, staff, and faculty at GSPP. And we'll talk a bit more about our community this evening and share more about what it's like to be a part of this community. On our MPA team, our faculty director is Hector Cardenas, and he serves in that role for the MPA program. And Tom Hernandez is our associate director of career services. You won't see Hector and Tom this evening, but we will talk a bit more about their roles. We also invited one of our MPA students, Kelsey Horn, to be here with us this evening, and she'll have an opportunity to speak in just a little bit in the program. So next, I'll hand the mic to Cam to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Welcome all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We appreciate you joining us here to learn more about this incredible program. I am Cameron Parker, Executive Director of Student Affairs here at the Goldman School. I have been in higher education for more than half of my natural life. So I have a extensive background working at schools here in the East Bay, both small and large. And so definitely committed to the student experience, student support, helping students to find programs that they are a great fit for and making sure that they're successful within that. So thank you for joining us this evening, and I'm excited for you to learn more about our MPA program.
And Simone?
Hi, everyone. Good evening, Simone Bryce. I'm the Associate Director of the MPA program, and I work with student services. So your main point of contact for the admissions process, and certainly helping students once they're with our program enrolled, and making sure everybody's meeting degree cadence and setting up accommodations where you all need support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simone. Okay, so I wanted to highlight for all of you that our dean is David Wilson. He joined the Goldman School about 3 years ago, and it is an exciting time to be part of the Goldman School community. He's very focused on and making sure that GSPP maintains its status as the #1 public policy school in the country. He's very focused on innovation and has launched a democracy policy initiative, a tech policy initiative, and is also ensuring that the school is focused on environment, climate, and energy as well. So we'll talk a bit more about what the school is focusing on, but it is a wonderful opportunity to be at GSPP right now with David Wilson as the dean. The Goldman School was founded in 1969 as one of the very first public policy schools in the nation. It's often ranked as the #1 public policy analysis program in the US and also receives top rankings in social policy and public affairs. And of course, we're located at the #1 public university in the country. UC Berkeley allows you to have an opportunity to take classes across many schools on the university campus, and many of those programs are ranked #1 in their own fields. And so it's a great opportunity to be a graduate student at UC Berkeley and access academics across the campus. We're preparing students for a very diverse set of careers in domestic and international policy. Many of our students are coming to us with backgrounds in the private sector, the public sector, and nonprofit, and are either making a pivot in their careers or are using the degree as a way to for serious professional development to help them advance in the careers, or just an opportunity to give to themselves and really expand what they're working on, thinking about, and the types of problems that they would like to address. To the one, though, our community is filled with folks, whether it's students, staff, or faculty, who want to make the world a better place and are here because they want to tackle these long-standing public problems and want to learn this toolkit to do that type of work. I do always encourage folks to check out our website and dive a little deeper into our faculty and take a look at who you have the opportunity to learn from when you're a student. We have many faculty who are tenure track, who are doing research that is recognized at national and international levels. Often our faculty are asked to testify at the federal or state level on whatever policy area it is that they're researching. We also bring practitioners into the classroom, and we have many folks who served in administration, in presidential administrations, or served at the state level or local levels, and they're coming into the classrooms to teach so that you have an opportunity to learn from folks who are doing the work on the ground. Regardless of the area that you're interested in focusing on, we have electives and enough electives in all of these areas for you to be able to hone in if you wish to specialize. So as I mentioned, we don't require students to concentrate in any of these areas, but I do like to highlight for you that we have enough courses and that if you do wish to specialize in a particular concentration, you can do so, particularly in these areas. And also, as I mentioned, many of our MPA students are very clear on what they would like to study, and perhaps some of those courses are here at the Goldman School of Public Policy, and many of them are, but they also tend to find courses across campus that they're also interested in. So many of our MPA students will take courses at the Haas School of Business, for example, or the Berkeley Law School, Energy Resources Group, or the School of Social Welfare, Public Health, or the Information School. So that is very common for our students to take their electives across the campus, and it's an incredible opportunity and privilege to be able to do so. So who else are you studying with when you're a student here at the Goldman School? These are the other degree programs that are located here at the Goldman School of Public Policy. Tonight, we're talking about the Master of Public Affairs degree, which is our mid-career program for folks coming back to school with mostly 7 to 10 years of work experience on average. Some of our students have a bit less. Many of our students have much more, but on average, it's between 7 to 10 years of work experience. Our cohort this year is about 68 students, but we are intending to grow that over the course of the next couple of years to about 100 students per year. And the program lasts 12 to 14 months. You will be studying and in community with our 2-year full-time Master of Public Policy degree students. We bring in a cohort each year of around 80 students into that program. So at any one time, we have about 160 MPP students. That is a 2-year full-time degree. So they are students full-time, and they're also doing a summer internship in between their 2 years. The Master of Development Practice is designed in the same way. It's a 2-year full-time program with a summer internship in between the 2 years. And we have approximately 30 students each year, 30 to 35 students each year in that degree program. We also have a PhD program that tends to be rather small. It's 12 to 15 students each year, and we usually admit 1 or 2 students each year into that program. Our undergraduate minor, I always like to touch on, is a very popular program for undergraduates. At any one time, we have about 750 undergrad students taking classes from our faculty, which I love, that young folks are thinking about public policy, finding out what it is, and taking those types of courses while they're still in undergrad. It's a very student-centered community here at the Goldman School. I always like to say it's small enough to wrap your arms around. You can absolutely get to know students in the other programs if you wish, and you really have an opportunity to bond, particularly with the students in your own cohort in the MPA program. So Cam, I'm going to pass it to you to talk a little bit more about the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here at the Goldman School, we are extremely proud of and take a lot of time to build and improve and make our community here a welcoming space that is composed of voices from all across the Goldman School, from staff, faculty, students, and alumni. So as you see here, a few of the points we'll touch on. Yes, it is Berkeley, so I will not sugarcoat that. You will be challenged academically. You will be going to the #1 public policy school in the country. And so through that, you will learn a lot about yourself and a lot about your skills and abilities. But during that time, you will be supported by a close-knit community. It's a unique thing that I think we offer here at the Goldman School, where you can be a part of the very large UC Berkeley network and still have somewhat of a small school feel, because here at Goldman, the population and the classes and the buildings are structured in a way where you start to see some of the same people consistently. And you start to, when you walk around, folks stop you in the hallway, they know, what's going on with you and what classes you're taking, and you're able to talk to folks and get that guidance. Speaking of guidance, our alumni network is very strong. I was looking at the picture that we took last week at our San Francisco networking conference, the 20th installment of that last week. And our alumni, they always show up. They're always willing to support students. They don't just wait until you become an alumni to connect with you. You're able to work with and ask questions and attend events with alumni at GSPP almost from the beginning of your journey here, because we do a mentoring mixer in the fall as soon as school starts back for everyone. So we have active alumni. That's really what I want to let you know there. And then last but not least, our commitment to inclusion. As I said, we take a lot of pride and we take time to build the community here, make sure that people have a voice, and make sure that populations are being represented in a genuine way. It's not just something that we talk about or that we want to happen. It's built into the training for staff and faculty to make sure that's true, and it's built into the coursework that you're going to be taking. Next slide. And then speaking of community, students, organizations and clubs, we actually have a club fair every fall, and I don't want to spend too much time on this slide, but what I will say is that there are not very many barriers to creating a student club or organization, or for participating in a position of student leadership or supporting student activities, student-led activities that happen here at the Goldman School. At some schools, you have to go through a trial period to be able to even be recognized as a club. Here, we want to support the groups that you all want to create, and that speaks to our environment here. Next slide. And I'm going to pass it to someone who is an active member within our community. Ms. Kelsey Horn, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am Kelsey Horn. I am currently an MPA student, and I'm a part of our Summer B cohort, which means I take a hybrid of classes online and on campus. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan, but I have resided in the Bay Area for about 3 years now. In addition to being an MPA student, I also work full-time, which has been great to be able to balance both of being a full-time student and a full-time employee. So I've worked in tech for like the past 5 years or so. I started at Meta, then Rivian, which is an EV company. And recently, not only am I working full time, I started a new job while doing this program. So it is possible to do both, folks. And I'm actually going to credit this program for somewhat for the job I have now, because I swear as soon as I updated my LinkedIn, I got a ping from a recruiter saying, hey, we're starting a new public affairs and products team at Pinterest. Are you interested? And I hopped at the opportunity. But what I will say, the good thing about me working full time while being in this program is like I am able to apply things that I'm learning real time, like day to day. I also have like these amazing professors. I cannot stress that enough, who are practitioners. Like they have worked in the industry. They have all this real life experience that they bring to the classroom. And they also have a more than one occasion, more than one professor, they have been open to just like getting some coffee, or, me jumping in their office hours and just talking about things outside of class, and supporting me in that way in my interests and career and things that I wanted to learn more about. So that has been great. A lot of my coursework, I have chosen to focus around AI policy and AI in general. So that also means I have taken classes with the business school and the law school, which has been like great. And one thing that I always say to folks who are interested in this program, I know a lot of folks have concerns about going to school and working. The cohort really is unmatched. One of the best things about this program is that you are working with, or you are going to class with such a diverse group of folks, literally from all over the world, but also from all different backgrounds that have taught me so much. But even in the midst of like being busy and folks have kids and folks have jobs, like we really like stick together. And I think it would be a lot tougher if I was just doing this completely alone, but we rely so much on each other to like help each other out with homework or study or meet up when we need some extra help. And it's just great. So I have nothing but wonderful things to say about this program, and the wonderful folks on this call. They have been such a resource to me. But looking forward to answering any questions that you all have for me from a student perspective later on.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. So now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the Master of Public Affairs degree program and give you an insight into how the program is structured. First, I like to back up and say that as you're looking at policy schools, you'll notice that we sometimes use the same 3 letters to describe very different programs. So I do always encourage folks to dig deeper below the 3 letters, whether it's MPP or MPA, to decide for yourselves whether or not that program has got the curriculum that you want and the ability to take the classes that you want. So oftentimes an MPA could mean a Master of Public Administration, which at some schools is particularly focused on training folks for government jobs. We use MPA, as you know, to describe Master of Public Affairs, which is focused on a public policy toolkit designed for leaders who are already mid-career. We also will often use the MPP. Well, we use the MPP to describe the Master of Public Policy degree program that is a more quantitative focus for folks who want to be analysts, and whether they're working in nonprofit, government, or private sector. And that is our 2-year program. So it's just important to look a little bit below the surface of the 3 letters to be clear on what the curriculum is and what you'll learn. So let's take a look at what you'll learn in the MPA program here at GSPP. So as I mentioned, our Master of Public Affairs degree program was designed specifically for mid-career professionals with a focus on policy tools and leadership skills to make that systemic change, to focus in on those longstanding public problems that you want to tackle, regardless of whether you're working in the private sector, public sector, or nonprofit sector. Our core focuses in on policy analysis, innovation strategy and leadership, economics, research methods, and inferential statistics. You'll take all of those core courses between the summer and the fall semesters. And then finally in the spring, all the MPA students work on a capstone project course with a client of their choice. So they're finding a client and a project that they wish to work on in that spring semester. And we'll talk a bit more about that in the coming slides. This slide shows that there are two ways to start the MPA program. On the left-hand side, I'm showing the core required courses as you would step through them if you start with the in-person summer session A. If you're starting in person, you'll be a full-time student for that first 6 weeks. So you'll step away from work, you'll be a full-time student, you'll take policy analysis, innovation, strategy and leadership, econ, and research methods in that first 6 weeks between mid-May and the end of June. Then in summer D, which is July, August, or in fall, you'll take your final core course, which is inferential statistics. And you can choose whether you want to do that in that first summer or in the fall. And then, as I mentioned, all of our students will take the capstone course in the spring, either in person or online. The second way to start the program is starting a bit slower with only 2 courses and doing them all online in the evenings, which is how Kelsey started the program, as she mentioned, that she was a summer B student. So online in the evenings in June, you'll take policy analysis and research methods. That means that the rest of your core needs to be finished in either summer D or fall. So you'll have the choice of taking inferential statistics in either summer D in July or in the fall. And then in the fall, you must take those last 2 core courses, econ and innovation strategy and leadership. And then the rest are electives. And then, as I mentioned, all the students take their capstone course in the spring semester. Some of the electives that we offer in that summer D session, you'll take either in that first summer in July, August, or you can actually take them in July, August of 2026. Even though you'll go through graduation, our commencement ceremonies in May, for those students who were not able to take their electives in July in 2025, we do allow you to circle back around and take those in July 2026. And these are some of the electives that are offered in that summer period. All of the rest of your electives will be taken in the fall and spring semesters, and you have a choice of online classes offered here at GSPP or at some of the other schools on campus, or many, many more choices of in-person classes here at GSPP or in the other schools across campus. So the MPA, just to summarize, is either 12 months or 14 months. All students must take 4 semesters. So you must take a summer session A in person or a summer session B online. You must take a summer session D, whether it's this year or next year. You must take a fall and you must take a spring. One of these semesters must be in person, and all students must take inferential statistics either in summer D 2025 or in the fall. I should have updated that to say or the fall. And then this just steps you through how you would do that. If you're doing the 12-month option, it will be summer A or B, summer D, fall, and then spring. Or if you're doing the 14-month option, as I mentioned, you can circle back around and do summer D at the end. So don't worry if this is confusing. We will share these slides with you. We just want to make sure to share the schedule with you up front. And also what to take away from these slides is that the program is very flexible. We've really designed something that works for mid-career working professionals. So we try to make it as flexible as possible to give you as many opportunities to take in-person or online classes and to really help you be successful in this coming year as you're an MPA student. This slide shows the key dates, so we'll share these out with you. If you're starting in the in-person, key dates to remember are our in-person orientation dates, May 14th through the 16th, and then classes begin May 19th, and summer session A ends June 27th. Or if you're starting online, you'll do an online orientation May 28th and 29th, start classes June 2nd, and finish Friday, June 27th with summer B. Here are the dates for summer session D, fall, spring, and summer session D 2026. Summer The in-person session details, I like to share to show you that in-person orientation is happening May 14th through the 16th, but also to say that you will be in class full time from 9 a.m. until 4:45 p.m. So you really do need to step away from work for those 6 weeks, mid-May through the end of June. Oftentimes we use this break in the middle from noon to 2 for speakers or to allow students to work on group projects. So you really will be engaged for the full day in summer session A. In summer session B, if you're an online student, all of those courses are happening in the evenings. So you'll either be in class from 4:30 p.m. These are all in Pacific time through 7:45, or you'll be in class from 6:15 to 9:30. And that's because we offer policy analysis 2 different times to be a little bit more flexible depending on where you are in the world. And then we offer research methods 1 time. And so that's how you can organize your schedule. But you will be in class every evening in June, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So you're off on Wednesday evenings. And then these are the summer session D details. So as I mentioned, your second semester is summer session D if you choose to take it in 2025. And we have created a very flexible schedule for summer session D. So you can choose to take classes in just 2 of these windows rather than all 3 if you wish. And these are the different class times. So it is possible to take class just in the morning, for example, and then have the rest of the day to work, or vice versa. We also offer about half of the classes in person and half online. So we really make it very flexible to allow you to make it work with your work schedule. So now we'll talk about career services. And as I mentioned, Tom Hernandez is our Associate Director of Career Services for the MPA program. You are matched with Tom as a career coach, and he will meet with you at least once a semester for a one-on-one coaching session, but you can take advantage of much more if you wish. He also will create particular professional development experiences and events specific to the MPA students as well as the other students in our master's degree programs. So you're getting a chance to have your very own executive coach as an MPA student. And he's very used to working with mid-career folks. So often our MPA students are coming because they're making some type of transition in their career, whether it's transitioning from private sector to public sector, for example, or whether it's working towards a promotion or just moving to a different job. Many of our students are going through transitions in their lives, and he's very used to working with students who are a little farther on in their career. The career services team, which is made up of 3 other folks, also put on networking events throughout the course of the year. So we will do networking events in Sacramento, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. every single year. And they will be inviting GSPP alums to the school throughout the year for career panels, for recruiting events, and that type of thing. As Cam mentioned, you have access to the alumni network on day 1 as a student, and our alums are just amazing. They really love to connect with students, are very responsive when students reach out, and we're always encouraging our students to make connections with alums while they're students and really have some of those informational type interviews to find their next step in their career. You also have access on day 1 to our job listings, and all of our alums are posting jobs there, as well as our whole network of employers that are used to and very desirous of hiring folks from GSPP, alums and students from GSPP for their openings. So they're always posting their open jobs on our job board. They'll also be providing you with many other online resources as students, and are making sure to keep you engaged with your job search and just your career progression as you're a student. Simone, do you mind if I pivot and hand you the mic to continue?
Sure, I can talk briefly about where our graduates work. The vast majority, so probably about 70% of our graduates do go on to work in the public sector. So that would be local government, be city, state, government or a governmental agency like a transit agency, or even the federal level. Then we have a number of students that go on work in the nonprofit sector. Typically, if they're going into the nonprofit sector from our program, they're going into a leadership position. So that would either be an executive director position, or every year we have one or two students who establish their own nonprofits. And then lastly, we have a number of students who move on and work in the private sector. So for example, management consulting, working with corporations. If you're working with a corporation, typically it's something like managing public-private partnerships, helping with AI, and increasingly ethics and technology. So we've got quite a bit of diversity in terms of where our graduates go. Let's go to the next slide, please. So a couple of spotlights here on some students. We have Kristen Rukisa, who established upon graduation a nonprofit marked by COVID rather, which brings awareness of COVID and other health concerns now to the Latino community. We also have Jason Tanko, who graduated and worked in the White House for a time, and then Hector Mujica, who is in charge of the Las Americas sector for google.org. Let's go to the next slide, please. Estimated cost of attendance. So this is in detail on our website. If you look at the tuition, the section of our website, I just want to quickly point out here that one, the tuition is charged in 4 increments. So as you go ahead and enroll in, as you know, if you think about Annie, she was talking about, you do summer A or summer B, summer D, fall, spring. As you enroll, your tuition is charged incrementally. And then 2, I also want to point out the line item health insurance, or SHIP. And that is the university health insurance. It's a great health insurance, but I bring it up because the university automatically enrolls all students in the SHIP health insurance. So you'll have that cost unless you waive out of it. And the way you waive out of it is showing the university that you have alternative conforming health insurance, and therefore you can waive out of that health insurance, both coverage and for the SHIP, the university health insurance, you can waive out of that as well as the expense. So let's go to the next slide, please. Financing your education, just run through this very quickly. Most of our domestic students do some sort of financing mixture that involves federal student loans, the FAFSAs. We do also have students that are on employer, or if to the extent that there might be international students on sponsorships from the national sponsorship, whether that be a partial or full sponsorship. We also have, to the extent that you may have worked served in the U.S. military, we have GI benefits, and the university has an office that helps for students to kind of manage that benefit for them. And then certainly we have a number of students who work as teaching assistants. So GSIs, which are graduate student instructors, GSRs, graduate student researchers. We have reader positions. Those positions come with a modest hourly wage along with the fee remission, and they're available in the fall and the spring. And the fee remission, that value each semester, that value is about $6,000 to $8,500, both for that value for the fall and for the spring. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'll quickly go through the admissions process. So our current cohort profile is about 68 students. We're expecting that number, maybe a little bit more, maybe up to 75 for this year's cohort. We normally have slightly more women than men. though this year it's 49% women, 36% international. Typically, we've got about 36 to 42% international students. We're a mid-career program, so average number of years of work experience, 7 years. The average age range is the 34, 35-ish. Though that range really is huge. We'll go as young as 27, even younger if that individual can prove that they are mid-career professional. So how might a 25, 26-year-old prove that they are a mid-career professional? Well, so for example, we've had some 25, 26-year-olds who are already executive directors of nonprofits, or city council members. And then we go all the way up. We always have several students in their 50s. Let us let's go. And then I think Annie may have mentioned this, that we always have a number of students who are, most of our students are coming from the private sector, but we do have a number of students who are coming from the private sector. Sorry. So most of our students are coming from the public sector. We always have a number of students who are coming from the private sector. That would include attorneys, maybe people in big tech. We always have people in big tech. We've had medical doctors. We've had award-winning architects. We've had photographers. So really that diversity and background adds so much texture to the classroom conversation. Let's go to the next slide, please. Going through the online application requirements, we are available right now. The application is, if you go to the graduate admissions website, you will find us under the summer admit programs. Do not look for us under the fall admit programs because we do not start in the fall. We start in the summer, as Annie pointed out, either with summer A in the May or summer B in June. So you apply. We are currently right now in rolling admissions. So we will try to get back as soon as you apply. We'll try to get back to you in a week or two regarding your application status. You'll need to apply 2 to 3 letters of recommendation. You'll need your informal, unofficial transcripts with proof of graduation from any academic institution where you received units that contributed to your degree. You will need 2 essays. One is a policy statement of purpose, and the second essay is a personal history statement. And the best essays kind of riff off of one another. So the personal history statement gives us a sense of who you are and who your sensibilities are. And then the policy statement of purpose builds off of that and lets us know, how are you trying to change the world? What policy areas interest you? To the extent that you want to undergrad at a university in a country where English was not the primary language, then you will need to provide proof of English language proficiency, either through TOEFL or IELTS scores. We do not have a GRE requirement. It is purely optional. And I always tell people, do not take the GRE if you are just applying to our program. Let's see. And only completed applications can be reviewed. So if you have any questions about that, you can always contact me, and there'll be an email address later on in this presentation. Let's go to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we are enrolling admissions now, and we are in it until April 1. If you are an international student, the processing time between submitting your application, us reviewing it, getting back to you, getting matriculated, and getting your student visa, it's really not a lot of time to get here and join us in May. So please, definitely aggressively do not wait until the end of the rolling admissions period. Give yourself the greatest runway, even domestic students, the longer opportunity that you have to fix your affairs. So not just in terms of moving to the Bay Area, but fix your affairs in terms of your other commitments, children, spouses, employers, the better off. So please do not wait until the April 1 drop dead deadline. Next slide, please. Holistic review. Hey, you guys are mid-career professional. The great thing about mid-career professionals is we have so much that we can look at when reviewing an application, because you have many years in the work experience. You have years of volunteer experience. So it's just, we look at each application holistically. We are definitely most interested in applicants who are mission driven, who want to change the world, who want to impact the world. So that commitment to public policy is very important. Clearly, your work experience, because we are a mid-career program. And then in terms of your recommenders, we're looking for people who can talk about your leadership aptitude and your passion and your dedication to a cause. Let's go to the next slide, please. So next steps, as I said, the application process is already open, and you really want to be moving as aggressively as possible. And the biggest thing now is that very last bullet point, that MPA at berkeley.edu. That email address is you will get a response within 24 business hours to any inquiry that you put in there. But I certainly hope, and to the extent that I can help support, I want everybody to be able to, you're in the rolling admissions period right now. Please, don't wait till the end. Get your application in. Contact me at that email address if you need any troubleshooting, and let's get you through the process as fast as possible so you're in the best situation to join us in the spring, or rather summer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simone. Okay, so that concludes our presentation, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're now going to switch over to questions and answers, and I will stop sharing my screen. You can please feel free to type your question in the chat, and we will look through those and answer them out loud. Or if you'd like to raise your hand using the raise your hand function and actually turn on your microphone, you can certainly ask us a question directly as well if you'd prefer to do that. And don't forget that Kelsey Horn, our MPA student, is here, and you could ask a question to her as well.
We got a few questions in the chat, but I want to make sure we get them in order. Let's see.
Okay, looks like, thank you, Kelsey, for answering some of them.
Does GSPP have a specialized policy/study center that focuses on policies regarding local government vis-a-vis Harvard's Tubman Center?
Got it. We don't actually have a center that's focused on local government, but we do have courses that are focused on local government. And we have folks who are teaching classes who have worked in local government. So we have a former mayor, a couple of former city administrators. So we do bring practitioners in who have worked in local government to teach or just be speakers at the school. You'll often have an opportunity to listen to speakers. Do people who apply to the MPP get considered for the MPA as well? Oh, Mario, there is a box on the MPP form when someone applied where it asks, if you are not successful getting into the MPP, would you like to be considered for the MPA? And if you check that box, we will be, and you are not, and the person is not successful in getting into the MPP, we will absolutely be considering those folks automatically for the MPA program. Now, if you applied to the MPP and you're not sure if you checked that box, or if you've decided I'd actually rather be considered for the MPA sooner rather than later, just feel free to reach out to us and we can make that adjustment for you. If you didn't have a chance to check that box and you want to now, just feel free to reach out to us. You can write to that MPA at berkeley.edu email address that Simone mentioned, and we can help you with that process. Okay, when should applicants expect admission decisions who applied during the round 2 deadline? I would expect those to come out at the beginning of March. Is that correct, Simone? The first couple of weeks of March?
Yes, that's what I would expect too. And
Okay.
if you need it earlier for any reason, let me know. We'll try our best. The beginning of March, we're moving as fast as we can, but if there's an urgency, we can pull an application and have it considered individually.
Thank you, Simone. As an international. Oh, okay. Simone, can you answer this question? As an international student from a country where English is the official language of instruction throughout high school and university, am I required to provide IELTS?
I need another country.
Okay. Augustine,
Sorry.
perhaps you could send a message to Simone or put it in the chat.
Yeah, and by and large, it is where your undergrad is. So
Augustine, I don't know if you heard that from Simone, but it depends where your undergraduate degree is from. And you could feel free to send that privately as an email to Simone as well in the MPA at berkeley.edu if you prefer to get the answer that way. Eric says, what's one thing about the MPA program that surprises students the most once they start? So I'll say that's for you, Kelsey.
One thing that surprised me the most once I got started. Okay, I was excited to be in the program, but I also was like, oh my gosh, this is scary. It's overwhelming. I have to take stats. I was very anxious about that. And I would say the thing that surprised me was how helpful, and also you do undergrad, and professors are very tough in undergrad, and they're like they're very rigid. And in a graduate program, like you're a professional, I feel like my interactions with my professors, it's just a very different experience, and a level of like the relations and how they're like sharing their experiences, and like how I'm able to like get information, and just they're just so flexible with you, like in office hours. I don't know if I'm being clear here, but like it's just very different from undergrad. And so when I need like extra help, it seems way less intimidating to just like hop into one of my professor's office hours than it did when I was in undergrad all those years ago. So that was one thing that really surprised me, just the difference of like graduate level classes versus like, my college experience before. And then also just like how quickly like I got close to so many of my classmates, where it was like, it's in undergrad you're like an individual, but here it's like we're like this all the time, always in WhatsApp, always texting, always meeting up. So that's nice.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. Okay, let's see. Simone, there's a question here. Could you discuss visa issues specifically for MPA classes being mainly online?
well, I mean, to get a student visa, you need to take classes in person. I believe it's 5 units per semester that need to be in person. To the extent, however, that you are not in the United States, Annie talked about that you can take some classes remotely. Indeed, you could take all of summer B remotely. To the extent that you're not in the United States, then you don't need to conform to student visa issues. And you just need to inform the Berkeley International Office. We have international students who have varying plans all the time. And the Berkeley International Office is super responsive to their needs. And in fact, to the extent that people's needs change, which happen, then the Berkeley International Office is very easy to pivot. So for example, if you start off thinking I'm going to be remote because I've got, work issues in my home country, maybe those work issues resolve mid-semester, then Berkeley International Office is flexible enough that if suddenly you realize you can come to the United States mid-semester, so long as you can conform to visa requirements for in-person class enrollment, you can come mid-semester. So we're super flexible about that, but they are requirements that need to be met.
Thank you, Simone. Okay, what level of quantitative expertise can MPA students expect to gain? Will MPA graduates be equipped with skills to conduct original policy research and analysis? The way I would describe this is that the MPA program has been designed for a mid-career leader or supervisor who is not needing to produce that research, but is definitely needing to make decisions based on research. So you need to know how to read research. You need to understand how to point out or identify flaws in research. But you're not expected to know how to create original research yourself. That is more what our MPP students are being trained to do. That said, we do have MPA students who come to GSPP and decide they want to get those skills while they're here. So they do tend to then take more of our quantitative courses in the fall and spring semesters that will probably be more populated by our MPP and MDP students versus our MPA, but you can work your way into some of those courses as an MPA student if you have some background and ability, and it's your desire to do so. Would you add anything to that, Kelsey?
Sorry, if I could add real quick.
Yes.
Being that those are electives, you too cannot only take those supplemental courses at GSPP, but you can take them University of Berkeley, California, Berkeley wide. So you have kind of one of the most august public education systems in the world at your hands, that you can use your electives and you can build the skill set concentration that you want. That's the wonderful thing about this degree. Sorry, Kelsey.
No, I will add on. As you guys may have picked up in my fear of stats, I am not a numbers girl. I typically avoid that type of stuff at all costs, but I will say between like taking stats and research methods and just other coursework, I do like feel confident being able to like decipher data or do research and have like the basics that I need quantitatively like in the field. Now, if you want to do extra and take more courses, great for you. But I will say that I've gained quite a bit in my year in the program almost than I had coming in here for sure.
Thank you so much. Okay, how can prospective students look up and apply for GSI, GSR opportunities? And does the MPA team have a webpage or running list of relevant fellowships students can apply to for additional support? Simone, do you want to take that one?
So with the graduate student appointments, you cannot apply to them until you actually matriculate as a student. So that's one of those things that typically you can only make ground on once you get here. There used to be a public web page where you can could see some of the listings, but that's not available now. But if you email the MPA at Berkeley, I can at least give you some links to some central campus resources for students looking for those positions. Regarding fellowships, there, I can also send you a link. I will say, because the MPA program is 12 to 14 months, and you can do it while you're working, it does not fit in with many third-party fellowships. Certainly, we've got departmental awards that we can provide students, and many students do federal loans. But that's a Fulbright. But I can't think of too many. There are some foreign scholarships that our students often come in, but in terms of scholarships that are in the U.S., I can't think of any third party that I've seen.
Thank you, Simone. Augustine asked, how does the program address emerging policy challenges such as climate change, technology, or global health? And I will say that there are electives on all those topics and multiple electives on all of those topics at GSPP and beyond GSPP. So at Haas, at the iSchool, the Information School, at Public Health, at Berkeley Law. And so you have many, many opportunities to take elective courses on those topics, and professors want present day issues to come up in the classroom discussion. So you might have a topic that is carried every year, they're talking about a particular topic, but the discussion that will happen in class will be present day students coming in with their own work experience and life experience, talking about their experiences and knowledge about a particular issue, as will the faculty member. So there is a real opportunity to address and dialogue about things that are happening in the world today. I don't know, Kelsey, if you'd want to chime in on that.
Yeah, 1000%. That is the cool thing, that like things are happening in the news, and then I'm like looking forward to talking about it in class. Like things absolutely get brought up. And then Cameron earlier shared some of the student groups, though, like I'm in a couple One is like BIP, which is like Black students in public policy, and then also a group for our technology students. So we're like sharing articles, like or like what's the latest. If you just want someone to talk to about stuff, you're going to get it. Like folks have so many varied interests and expertise. There's always some room to learn in the classroom, outside the classroom.
Thank you.
Just picking up on that, outside of the classroom, you're in the San Francisco Bay Area. So not only are you on a world-class college campus, but you are literally in the thick of it with a lot of these issues where, in Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, lots of stuff is going on. Like, Sacramento's only an hour and a half away. So a lot of this stuff that is impacting the world is happening literally in the backyard of the campus.
Thank you so much. I think Darren's question was asking something similar, and then he added on, I'd love to hear more about Kelsey's job and how you are applying what you've learned into this new role.
So I lead policy and product communications for Pinterest, which is like a visual platform for like ideas and to find inspiration. If you're not familiar, download it. But what I do is kind of, so I can say in real time this week of how like my job like intersected with school. And my capstone. I'm focusing my capstone is on age verification for social media platforms with Pinterest. And so one avenue right there, I was able to like merge both of those things. But like our CEO was actually invited to an event in DC. And folks were like, is anyone familiar with this? Do you like, can you do some research? I clicked on the link and I was like, our very own Angela Glover Blackwell, who is a professor in GSPP, is speaking on the panel. And then one of the other panelists runs an organization that we were talking about in class. And so right away, I was able to provide some insight based off of my knowledge of the organization and Angela to advise on like if we should participate or not. And so I'm finding a lot of things converge like that, especially as I'm in all these classes focused on like tech policy. It's real time every day. I'm reading an article, talking about it in class, applying it at work, figuring out how we're going to respond as a company, or at least being able to like recommend how we're talking about it publicly. That is a lot about what I do. And I'm sorry, I didn't clarify. I work in the communications within policy and product at Pinterest. So a lot of what I do is share about how we discuss these things publicly, how our executives discuss these things publicly, and what our stance is, if that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. There's another question in the chat. The ability to take a wide array of electives is very attractive. Is there a unit cap for the entire program and or per semester? Theoretically, could we take more classes than those outlined in the slides per semester? Absolutely. The wonderful thing about the MPA is that the lower limit to earn the degree is 30 units, but we have many students that take far beyond 30 units, and the price is the same no matter how many units you take. So it really depends on the time that you have available to you. And some of our students will take additional classes rather than taking them for a grade, they'll take them pass fail, which makes it a little bit less stressful. But I would say, I don't know, Simone, how many students do you think take many more units than they need for the degree? Is it a high percentage, or I don't know. I don't have a good sense of how many.
Sure, I would say about 20. So if you need a minimum of 30, I would say about 20% of our cohort does over 35, 36 units.
Yeah, so it's like an extra 1 or 2 classes above and beyond what you need to
Oh,
graduate.
and we have some that have been up in 45 units.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely. Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have made it through all of the questions.
Annie, can I add one more?
Yes.
Someone messaged me directly and asked like what the workload is, like being in a full-time program and working full-time. I mean, I won't lie and say it's not, it's a full-time program, and we are a great program. And so it is like it is you're able to balance both. Lots of people in the program are balancing both. It is not impossible to do. It's not a cakewalk, of course not. It's a challenging program, but you are absolutely able to balance doing both if that is so what you choose to do. And I know, like I said, folks have kids and other obligations on top of this, so it's just me. And then I also would say when scheduling your courses, so most of like for this semester, most of my courses are in the evenings. So I'm able to work during the day. And then after 5, I've been taking classes. And that's what works for me. Other folks prefer to go to class during the day and they can do that. And that's great. But I've had to tailor it to my work schedule. So there's trade-offs you have to make there, but very possible.
Thank you, Kelsey. Martha, do you have a question?
Thank you. Again, I know that you already talked about the schedule, but one of the things that is probably what I'm looking for MPA virtually is because I live in Santa Rosa, so is I know that you're not offer like virtually the whole program. You say that you are like a half, probably half and a half. I will say that. So and but something that take my attention is that uh you have another kind like a club that we have to participate part of our program. So it's like this kind like a how can you like manage this timing if I need to drive to go there, just thinking this is like a scenario, and
Yeah,
because I have a special needs kids. And that's the reason that I have to be more near my home. But
yeah,
I know that Berkeley University, it has like a high, you know, I can say star just to say that. That's why I take my attention. But I don't know if you can tell me something about it and you can just give me an idea that what can I do?
yeah. Martha, I might actually encourage you to have a one-on-one conversation with one of us because it sounds like you have a very particular situation that we would love to support you in. And that's what's so wonderful about this program is it can be very individualized and we really want you to be successful in that. So I would really encourage you to schedule a one-on-one consultation with Simone or Cam or even me. You can reach out, you can send me an email, acw@berkeley.edu, and we can walk through what your schedule might look like and find a way for you to be able to complete the program.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, I think that we have answered all the questions and it is 6:05. So I want to say thank you all so much for being here tonight. It's really wonderful to hear from you and to see your photos or your actual faces. Thank you for attending. We hope if you're interested, you'll feel free to reach out to us. We want you to be successful in your application process. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and we're always happy to have some conversation with you as you work your way through the process. So thanks again for your interest and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.